Moving on. Ayub. Oh, look away. Ayub fans, look away now.
all two of them.
All two of them.
Oh, mate. The day was coming. The day was coming. You didn't
I
think it'd come.
I didn't think it would be so soon.
I did tell you the run of fixtures.
You did.
What we are referring to, ladies and gents. Luton Town got their first 3 points of the season. Their first win against Everton. Everton away as well, shall we say?
Surely that's not considered a win. Surely against Everton, that can't be considered a win. Surely not.
This is the part where the editor should throw it back to Ayub's previous comments, and I'll go now. And we're back. Ayub, mate, they're gonna come after you now. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah,
it is what it is. What are your thoughts on that? They managed to win a game of football. Unbelievable.
I think Badge, an apology would be appropriate, right, Badge?
Yeah. I think this. I didn't want to lead him in. I thought, you know what, if he's got anything about him, he'll.
I find it hard to apologise. I really do. I mean, I suppose. I mean, I did say they weren't going to win a game. They've actually won a game, but I find it quite hollow because they've beaten a side which is, I can't believe. Honestly, I cannot believe. I mean, you were right, Badge. You did say the run of fixtures, but I thought Everton at home, albeit they're a very poor side, I don't think they'd scored a goal at Goodison all season. So maybe the odds were certainly in favour of Luton, but unbelievable. I'm shocked. I'm stunned. Maybe I suppose I need to offer some sort of apology, which I do. I apologise because I was wrong. But it'll only be one game. I don't think you'll win more than one game.
Oh no!
Are you? Badge, the problem that I have with that is by the time this episode's released, Luton Town may have beaten Burnley. So that might.
Yeah. They're playing in about an hour's time. So I don't think so. I mean, I if they were going to beat a team, it probably had to be Everton. But Everton should have won that game. I mean, having watched the highlights, they had about 2 or 3 glorious opportunities or good chances. And the first goal Luton scored, my goodness, it was, I think Ashley Young was trying to clear the ball. It hit, I don't know who it hit.
Lockyer.
One of the Luton players. Lockyer. And it's gone in. The second one's fair enough. I mean, they practice their set play. So fair play. I must confess, I was absolutely confident that Luton would not win a game of football. So the fact they've won a game is fantastic. But I still stick by the fact that they will not have more than 10 points come the end of the season. They will be relegated. They will be bottom of the table.
They've got 4 points. They may have 7 by the end of tonight. I mean, you're not leaving a lot of leeway there, are you?
Well, they won't. Burnley are a decent side. Everton are hopeless.
He says Burnley are a decent side. Luton are above them.
Well, but Everton, that was disgraceful. I mean, if Dyche had any decency, he would reimburse every single Everton fan that turned up. And if he had, again, any decency, he would have said after that game, I'm leaving. That was unbelievable.
Nobody
did apology of it.
Yeah, nobody walks away from a Premier League gig. I'm telling you,
he should have done for that. That was outrageous. So no, in all honesty, fair play. I mean, I don't think it's a monumental achievement because they've beaten a very, very poor side. But they've won again.
If they beat enough poor sides, of which there are a few in the Premier League, they may well just stay up. That's all you got to do. You've just got to win some of those games around you. We said the other day when Everton beat Brentford, right? That just these 3 points, it's going to be massive, right? And for Luton to kind of go to one of their relegation rivals and beat them on their own patch is going to breed a lot of confidence. Look, Luton Town, you mentioned it. I mean, I'm not sure if yours is a clear and unequivocal apology, but you were.
It was a bit half-baked.
It was, wasn't it, Bad? It was a little. He said it a bit sheepishly, to be fair. But let's see what tonight brings. But Luton Town look interesting. I think again, Jamie Carragher broke it down quite well. I think yesterday, they're only 8th in corners taken. 8th. in corners, and you saw against Everton that they were causing them all sorts of harm in the corners. Quite strategic the way they were trying to free up Carlton Morris. Interesting with Morris, 3 goals, 1 assist, had a goal disallowed in the game as well, marginally offside. He should have got an assist for the first goal. Let's be honest, it was his header that cannoned off the ball. He doesn't get an assist. And in the FPL, from a value perspective, only Alvarez, Haaland, and Watkins topping the leaderboard, are above him, as well as Edouard. But as long as Carlton Morris plays today, he'll be 4th in the striker rankings in FPL. He was a handful on Saturday as well. Won the free kick, then gets the goal from the free kick. Everton's defending for that second goal. I mean, you've got Carlton Morris, the number 9. And he's never marked at any point.
He just casually runs in back post.
He's just never marked at any one point.
Looks at him.
Honestly,
excellent finish, though.
Incredible.
Excellent finish.
It was an excellent finish.
It was, but I mean, it's bread and butter if you've got no one around you.
Yeah, I mean, at Premier League level, exactly. A good free kick, I think it was from Alfie Doughty, but I mean,
no one looks at him.
I mean, it looks like it's Mikalenko's man, but he ended up with 2 guys at the far post. I mean, nobody. You think the one guy who's getting free on all the corners, who's causing us all sorts of bother, might be a good idea just to mark him from set pieces. So Sean Dyche will be pretty disappointed with that. But he's their hope, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, they're 16th in shots, 20th on shots on target. So they're going to struggle in terms of scoring goals. I think they've only scored 5 in the league. That will be the big challenge for Luton. They're going to concede a fair few on there. That's just the levels that we're talking about. But if they've got a chance, it's, again, set pieces, 8th in corners, causing quite some trouble, like I said, against Everton. To that, they've got quite a nice, interesting way to kind of free up Morris. It seems that seems to be the idea. So that was kind of interesting. They beat Everton on corners as well on the day. But the challenge for Luton, again, is going to come about whether they can put a couple of wins together. I mean, they are bottom of the table in terms of passes. Just to give you a bit of context, they are 20th in the league. No, but just to give a bit of context, 20th in the league in passes. They're 577 passes adrift of Forest. Forest are 19th. Just to put a bit of context, the same gap takes Forest all the way to Burnley on 12th. So that's how far adrift Luton are in terms of passes. It's only going to be about long passes, getting set pieces. And again, winning some of those games. Today is another one, right? Home to Burnley. And it shouldn't be lost on anyone, Ayub, that if the season ended today, Luton would be in the Premier League and Leeds would be in the Championship. I think
the season doesn't end today.
It doesn't, but they've got a chance today. Today's their game in hand. I mean, let's be serious. If they win their game in hand, which I believe they're home to Burnley. Burnley haven't won all season, I believe. So why not? Why not? They'll be looking to kind of build on that. And I think if they do get a win, that'll give them a little bit of confidence. 7 points, a couple of wins, a draw. That'll give them a little bit of confidence, I think, heading into the next batch of games. That's not probably the worst return. I mean, 7 points from 7 games. That's pretty decent. So very interesting. I'm happy for them. It is a really good story, to be fair, for the Premier League and for Luton Town altogether. And I know you're somewhere deep down in the chambers of your heart, you are quite happy that Luton got their win.
Not at all.
Come on, I set you up so well there.
Forget all of this. I am sure there was a forfeit on the line, but I don't know what it was.
I don't know.
Something about Ayub giving up his second house for half the price or something. I can't remember.
I'll travel up to Luton.
I'll take it.
I'll travel up to Luton.
They don't want you there, mate.
Exactly. Was he meant to go Luton and get in there with their fans? We Are Luton Town on Twitter did actually respond to I think the repost of the video where Ayub claimed they wouldn't win a game of football, and he goes, "Has anyone checked on Ayub? Is he okay?" Yeah. And Ayub hasn't responded, so.
As you can see, I mean, with the darkness in the room, it looked like I'm in some sort of cellar.
But I thought, Badge, the decent thing to do would be on our Just Onside Pod Twitter page, which we ask all viewers to kind of follow and what have you. We'll put Ayub's address on just to let those Luton Town fans know where Ayub lives. Is somewhere out there in the suburbs where the rich folk live, but I'm sure you can find it on the sat nav.
In Blackburn.
Yeah, that one, exactly.
He's in his panic room as we speak. That's where he's at.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, insulated from all of that. Exactly. Yeah. Good stuff.
Moving on from Luton Town, I've just seen that this is on the agenda. I don't really want to talk about it. Manchester United lost again on the weekend. It's now 4-7. I have no words for what's going on at current. I don't know how.
That's a short segment. Then let's move on.
Yeah, it's just again they played Palace midweek. Palace rotated their side, and we had a few rotations. Well, as much as we could given our injuries. And we look good. We look good midweek. Beat them 3-0, I believe it was, or 3-1. Whatever it was. The fact that we lost our game to them in the Premier League means that the Carabao Cup win is a bit of feels like a distant memory at this point. But yeah, gents, again, no real intensity to Man United's play, no real chances carved out. There was a few half chances here and there, but nothing major. Palace didn't have to create anything. If people want to say that they didn't create anything bar the goal either, but they didn't have to. They took their chance. Great finish from Anderson. Got to give him credit. Ball probably should have been cleared before he got to him, but hey ho, he did what he had to. How do the United stop the rot? By the time we released this app, they would have probably finished their game against Galatasaray tonight. So it'll be interesting to see whether the misery continues. But with Brentford at home, nothing seems like a sure thing at the minute for United. So what's going on there, and how do they change their fortunes? Oh, you've gone. You go, mate. He wasn't ready.
Oh, no, I wasn't ready. I don't think you were going to come to me. I don't know. I think for me, it's like it's almost we've gone full circle. We were praising Ten Hag last season, and it seems almost this season that I don't know. I almost sort of think that he's instrumental in what seems to be going wrong. I think in terms of players. I mean, I think with Sancho, it just doesn't seem. The captain of the ship should be perhaps somebody who's the strongest, there's a strong sense of leadership, there's a strong sense of direction. I don't know. I mean, as a United fan, do you still have faith and trust in Ten Hag? Do you still believe that he's the right man to lead United?
I believe he still should get more time for sure.
Define more time.
Considerable amount, unless we carry on these horror results where it's like 3-4 bounces, and then inevitably that at United will not be accepted.
But what's he doing that sort of makes you think that he deserves more time?
I think, well, to be fair, any coach, I think last season he did a relatively good job with United, with all the drama that just surrounds the club constantly. On field, off the field, delivered a trophy, made a good run in all comps, to be fair to him. Final of FA Cup, third in the Premier League, Champions League, went out. I wasn't entirely happy with the way we went out, but did I say Champions League? Sorry, Europa League. Champions League on my mind because the game's about to start in an hour's time. But in the Europa League, yeah, the way we went out to Sevilla was really poor, but again, it was more so down to individual errors more than anything. So I think he's done it. He's more than earned the right to manage United this season. Let's not get it twisted. But 4 losses in 7 is never a good look. It's like one of our worst starts ever to a Premier League to a league campaign. So he's definitely got. I mean, we can't be that reactionary in the sense that now he's suddenly not good enough or hasn't earned the time to get the job done and get it done right. But I think that's why we can't be talking about letting him go or anything like that. And also the myriad of injuries. And again, I come back to this where other teams' injuries have been highlighted through the media. Whereas if you look at United, Sufyan Amrabat's playing left back. I mean, it's ridiculous. And Martinez is now out for months. Varane has just come back. Mount has just come back. So he's had to deal with an injury-stricken squad as well. But at the same time, I think for United fans, you do also want to see styles of play implemented. we did think this. I think last season there was a pass because of the personnel. This season he's got the players, some of the players in that he wanted to, not all. I think with Onana, we were hoping to see a massive change in the way we build out from the back, and we do build out from the back, but it is incredibly slow, incredibly plodding. I think some of it is down to him, and in-game management choices. Some of them I do not agree with, and how long it takes for him to sometimes make substitutions. But I think there's also the case of having to play players not where they want to play, and the fact that the players themselves aren't carrying out their duties correctly. I mean, Marcus Rashford looks a shadow of the player. He's the one that gets targeted the most right now. I mean, you have your side of fans that are just insane, but then there's also a group that generally do want to see him drop to the bench, maybe just to like. He can't be bulletproof if he's not playing well. If anyone's not playing well, I think there should be that danger there that you can get dropped. And with him right now, it's a lot of arm flailing and all this, that, the other. But I think at the same time, he is doing a few things right, but it's the bad that are getting highlighted more. So players aren't performing. I feel for Rasmus Højlund, this lineup, it's very, very, it's a very, very difficult job for him. He's not getting any service. I can't think of a time where he's been slipped in for a shot and he's played like 4 games for us at this point or something like that. So it's difficult. It's difficult. How much of it is the players? How much of it is Ten Hag? It's guesswork at this point, but it's not good enough. I know that much.
Do you reckon the players still believe in Ten Hag? Do you reckon he's still got the buy-in from all the players?
There is a concern apparently. That's been reported that he feels like they're a bit too brittle. I mean, that may not be the case, but that is what's reported, that he potentially has a concern that the players are a bit weak when it comes to, like, if the going gets tough, they get the tough get going, that kind of thing. But it does seem to be the case whenever we go behind or whenever there's a bit of pressure on us. I don't know, man. They seem to shy away, some of them, but we'll see. We'll see. I think over the next few games, I think we got in the league, there's Brentford at home, Sheffield United away, and then it's City at home. So it's going to be interesting to see where our form is by the time we get to that game. But yeah, I mean, if don't get a win tonight, potentially everyone's going to be like crying over an exit potential. Already 2 games into the Champions League group stage, there'll be people concerned about that. So it's an interesting one, it really is. I mean, I'd like to hear a lot of thoughts, to be honest, because for me right now, there's a bit more emotion mixed into it, so judgment can be a bit cloudy. But
well, first and foremost, I mean, Ayub, I swear I found the perfect club. If you were chairman of a football club, you know the perfect football club for you, it'd probably be Watford. Because you'd be getting to your managers. You'd be getting to your managers so fast. I mean, how dare you drop points in a game or what have you? I mean, what kind of? I'm not sure what kind these KPIs are going to be.
Well, we did have a lunatic managing us, Cellino, and he was quick on the trigger.
Quick on the trigger, indeed. But honestly, I cannot understand it for the life of me. I thought about it. Because just your line of questioning, you suggested to me that you don't believe he should be given that much more time.
Honestly, it's like last season. I thought it was fantastic. Do you know, the way that the club was developing, the way that the club was moving forward. I finally thought that the corner had been turned, and it just sort of seems as if all the good work that was done last season seems to have dissipated. And I think more concern is. It's the sort of interaction between manager and players. It just seems there's a friction, and I think that's, for me, if I was a United fan, is where the concern is, that you can't win every single game, but if you see players pulling in the same direction, if you see players sort of wanting to play for the manager, at least it gives you some hope. That's what I'm not seeing at the moment.
But I think just to frame this, the reason I think that they've not had the best of starts is because they're still there's been a number of factors, right? We know the off the field issues with the ownership. We know some of the issues they've had off the field in terms of dealing with some big situations, right? Anthony, Sancho, Greenwood, just to name a few, all pretty much playing in the same position as well. Mason Mount injury, sure, their entire back five, if you think about it, there's been some semblance of change. You've changed a goalkeeper that was there for more than a decade, right? He has to come in, build a relationship with a centre-back pairing. Well, that centre-back pairing, first choice Varane, Martinez, have missed considerable time already and will miss more time with Martinez out for the rest of the year, the calendar year. You've got Luke Shaw, who's been out for a number of games. At right back, I think Wan-Bissaka, correct me if I'm wrong, Badger, but has missed a couple of games. Obviously, they've had Dalot. Yes, Dalot's been at the club, but your back five needs to be settled, right? I mean, more than ever, just 100%. Because to build partnerships, relationships, cohesion, chemistry, all of that. A Badge mentioned about how they look a little bit plodding, and that's not necessarily Onana. That's more the players also, the players getting used to him as well, understanding where to be, what angles, where he likes to prefer to pass. Is it more sideways passes? Do we need to, you know what I mean? It's just all of that takes time. I just think I thought, honestly, Saturday morning, I was thinking that if Manchester United lose this game at home to Palace, is their season over? I genuinely was thinking about this before the game, like I said, just random thoughts. I just remember thinking, a part of me, in terms of their realistic aims this season, I thought it would probably herald the end. After the result, even though they lost, I didn't want to be too overly dramatic, because I do think these things take time and you can recover. What you need, though, is everything to start going for you in the right direction, which means players' health, just into a couple of wins, performances. Ayub's right. Currently, there seems to be some disconnect. Now, I think that happens as a natural consequence of losing a few games, because what happens is you have a few bad eggs, and that then that group maybe becomes a little bit bigger, because it's easier sometimes to rail against a manager who's trying to implement high standards when suddenly the results aren't going well. The hardest place sometimes players find hard to look into is the mirror and say, look, maybe it's on us. I mean, there's talk today that Sancho may well be leaving in January.
Yeah.
I mean, surely that could have just been resolved with an apology. Now, you might argue, I don't want to put words in your mouth, is, well, that's also the responsibility of the manager. But in the end, if the player's not pulling his weight and you don't think he's worth the hassle of fighting over, fine, get rid of him. What's Jadon Sancho done at Manchester United Football Club to even warrant this kind of extension of an olive branch?
Exactly.
Just be done with him, move on, and that'll probably, in the long run, get you a little bit more from your squad to say, look, if you guys also kind of take shortcuts and what have you, you'll also be gone. And I hear you, Badge, on the Rashford. That's a tricky one. I think some of it is a bit more about the off the ball stuff as well, just in terms of his work. And I get all that. Yeah. I think those are legitimate points in the this. Now in the Premier League, you can't carry wingers that are not willing to work hard and track back. Teams are too good. Simple Absolutely as. Teams are too good. So I think it's just a combination of things and those injuries haven't let Ten Hag build on a bit of an identity in terms of playing style. They're 5th in shots this season, but 12th for shots on target. If you look at all of their detailed statistics, they're pretty much a middling team, just in terms of all of it. So, and that's where they find themselves, on course to concede 60 goals in the Premier League this season. Not saying they will, but it's still too many, isn't it? Not being able to score at home, 4 defeats already in 7. Yes, some of the teams have been top quality, but that doesn't mean you have to lose to all the top quality opposition, get the odd draw, maybe get the odd victory. It just seems that when they come up against a team that's better than them, they somehow find a way to lose those games. So Palace weren't noticeably better than them, but they took their one moment, which was, again, Badge, you were right. It was a pretty good finish up, a little deflection, but he struck it first time. I think it was a difficult one for Onana. So tough times for United. I think these are crucial times in the Champions League in these next 2 league games. I think the next 2 league games are must-wins, to be fair, with City on the horizon as well. So let's see. But in terms of time, I can't have that question asked. I mean, I'm not even ready to even entertain such a possibility.
I think honestly, more so it's the fact how last season ended. In the sense, not our performance-wise, but like how we did in on all fronts. I think there was optimism going into this season that we could push further up. And the fact that the games we have won this season, we could have potentially lost every single one of them. And I mean, you could lose any game, like someone could say, but it's the fact that the Wolves game, we were very, very lucky to win that game. Very lucky. Forest, we were 2 down. At home to Forest, great comeback, say what you will, but at the end of the day, that's probably a game again we should have lost. Burnley game, if Amdouni scores that goal, I mean, it's a sitter for a striker, really. He's through on goal, he's at the post. If that goes in, different game. So we've not looked convincing in any of our wins, bar the Palace midweek Carabao Cup one, but in the league we've not looked convincing at all. And then we have the losses, 4 and 7. There's no excuse for it. And at the minute, there's no optimism around the club. You can go from you know how you said before, there's not a PL gig you walk away from. If he walked away from this gig, I wouldn't blame him, because not only for the sheer fact that there's so much drama going around with this club, and he has to manage that given his players. Greenwood now is away, so thankfully he's doing whatever he's doing in Getafe. It's not so much his problem anymore. Anthony's just coming back in with his case going on. Sancho, I mean, I was gonna. I don't know if you guys saw, but on the overlap, they've done a little podcast called Welcome to. It's called Stick to Football.
Yeah.
And on there, Roy Keane made the point. He's like, even if, all right, you don't necessarily agree with what the manager said and whatnot. I mean, if you just said sorry tomorrow, it'd be forgotten about the day after. Like, literally, everyone will move on.
He talked
Sancho,
about
what he's doing. Like, come on, man. He's not performed at all for United, at all. And I was one of the guys willing to, like, give him more chances, give him more time, because we've seen what he did at Dortmund. He showed he's a sensational player. But since he's come to United, he's done nothing. And the fact the manager's backed you and you still can't get over it and your little feelings are hurt, he's playing FIFA till 3 a.m. night before the club's playing. He's playing during.
That was bad optics.
Come on, man. And the fact that people defend that, I think it's insanity. So I mean, what he said, I think even Carragher mentioned, what Ten Hag actually said in the press conference, and even I said at the time, it wasn't even that inflammatory. It was nothing really. He wasn't training to standard, so he's not in the team. Simple.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the problem he's got, players are soft these days. It's a joke how protected they are. Their agents are in their ear, their families. Oh, no one can touch their precious kids. That's how it's become, unfortunately. But he's got all that going on, and now the myriad of injuries. I was thinking Lisandro Martinez this season he's just not looked like himself at all. It makes complete sense now as to why, given he's been playing through painkillers, his foot never healed, and now he's out again for 2 to 3 months. I think that you can put on the club for sure, and the manager in part. The player's going to try play whatever happens. He doesn't care. He wants to play football. So if there's an opportunity for him to do so, he's going to do so. So I think there's criticism there for Ten Hag for sure. But when it comes to results, no one looks at all the drama going around the club. No one looks at the fact that there's a myriad of injuries that he's having to work through. Like Uwe said, no consistent back four. We're playing backups in every position, essentially. In the back line, I should say. I think Varane's back now, so therefore we've got one starter. But no one looks at that. If you're losing your games, and they're just going to be like, he's lost these games, and therefore should his job be on the line? And when you're at United, you're under the microscope even further. So there's nowhere to hide. And unfortunately for him, I mean, if tonight's result against Gala doesn't go his way, it's going to be interesting seeing the lead up to that City game. Honestly, is and it's a shame because I do feel like he can come good for sure. I think there's been enough indicators. Obviously, people want to see style of play. It is difficult when you're not settled, and we haven't had a settled lineup at all this season at any point. So yeah, it's a horrible situation for him to be in.
There's no way they're moving on from Ten Hag this season.
You never know. You never know. I wouldn't think so. But if it got,
you would chop him tomorrow.
if it got toxic enough. Hey, Chelsea are now a point behind us, albeit not in the top half yet. but they're a point behind us. So it's funny how things work. Again, they've won every game on XG, Chelsea, but for a lot of people, Poch would have been gone. So I don't know. It seems like a ticking time bomb. I hope United can turn it around. I really do. I think for league, it's disappointment, really is, because now you're just playing for Champions League spots. Even though we're how many games in? 7? 7 games in, but you just can't afford to lose that much pace with the top. You just can't. So you're not clawing that back. So there goes that. So yeah, you're just fighting for Champions League spot at this point, which is very, very disappointing given the optimism coming into the season. So I think that's where the problems lie with the fan base, to be honest. Agreed. But let's see how they do on the cup fronts, and yeah, I'm sure we will be we'll have something else to discuss going into next week after this round of fixtures this weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll wrap up this episode of Just Onside. My God, it's gone dark.
Yeah.
at least I can see you two. This is with the light on.
Well, we've just had.
I'm in a different time zone. It's 2:00 in the morning.
Here. You will be in a different time zone when those Luton fans get hold of you. I'm telling you. But no, talking about it's going darker, it's got a little bit darker. The PGMOL. I think we've just had confirmation that the audio has been released to everybody in public. We've all had just a quick listen. Maybe perhaps we'll shoot an impromptu, quick little. Kind of segment tomorrow, because that is quite interesting listening and viewing with regards to the happenings of the Luis Diaz onside offside goal. So we'll probably take a little bit of time just to digest it, gather our thoughts, and maybe hopefully in the next day or so we'll shoot our reaction to that, because it's definitely very interesting as to how it came about, that decision.
Yep. And until then, remember to like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff, ladies and gents. Leave a comment down below. If you have any opposing thoughts, I'm sure I'm gonna get some interesting reactions to the take on the VAR piece.
I'll be writing comments in.
Hey, you respond to We Are Luton Town FC. Yeah? But yeah, go follow our Twitter /X account, Just Onside Pod. I think they've already reacted to the PGMOL statement and the audio recording, which is unbelievable. And like Lewis says, we will go into it in further detail, I'm sure. But until then, we will catch you on the next episode of Just Onside. Until then, don't stray off.